How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. Today we are looking over a video by Southend Dog Training, Change the Tool, Change the Mindset. So I saw this one in passing and I thought, oh, okay, this is, again, a bunch of nonsense that he's going to hide it. Instead of telling people how the tools work, you don't need to change the tool. You need to change your mindset as the human. When you rely on tools, such as prong collars, shock collars, star mark collars, slip leads, slip collars, anything of the sort, head halters, even easy walks and no pull, gentle leaders, if I didn't already say that, and easy walks, no pull harnesses. You're relying on the tool and it becomes a crutch. You're not teaching the dog anything, you're holding them back. So, I'm going to try and explain and read between the lines and kind of clear up what he's not telling you, what he's trying to cover up and saying, you need to change the tool, change the mindset. Of course you do, because it hurts more. What he means is if your dog isn't listening in one tool, then you need to use a more harsh tool to cause more pain and discomfort to get more control of your dog. But in doing so, you don't have any more control over your dog. You just lose more trust and have, you mess up, maybe entirely ruin your relationship with your dog. So, I'm a certified trainer. I use positive reinforcement. This is just, I'm not saying you have to do things my way. I'm just trying to point out the things that they are not saying to try to keep the training world honest, because it's very dishonest. It's been so for a long time. And so if he's not going to be honest, then I will and tell you exactly how these tools work. If he were honest and said, hey, this is what we're doing, it causes pain, it gets the dog's attention, blah, 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 okay, I wouldn't bother with it because he's being honest. So, if you're ready for all that, then let's get started.
And all the usuals.
Okay, so a cute little bully. I do like his harness. He's on a double leash. This guy is already very tight, holding him back. I do like he's double leashed. I'm not a fan of this type of harness because, as you can see, this dog's beautiful shoulders right here. When this harness is not, well, one, it could go up to right here at the base of the collarbone by the trachea and can cause more problems. And two, it restricts the shoulder movement, which can affect the dog's gait. It's like if you have, a rubber band, or you put your hoodie or too tight of a shirt on, up to your arms, and you can only do so much, or you put a rubber band around your legs, it restricts you doing that, and it's going to cause, probably some kind of arthritis or issues later on down the line. Again, though, this tool is still just a crutch. So this guy is instantly pulling on the collar. I would be more worried about putting pressure on the harness. I wouldn't like a harness like this, but if that was all I had, then I would be putting more tension on the harness and less on the neck and throat, because that will drive the dog forward more, because he feels like he's choking. It's going to cause more opposition reflex. The dog is still going to pull anyway, but if I can teach him to listen to the harness, I don't have to worry so much about the throat. So don't worry about holding the throat back. I would worry about the harness, where you get the body of the dog back. They're less likely to be reactive that way, from my own personal experience, because yes, I've been training dogs for almost 10 years. That is not 1 year, 9.5 times. That is 9.5 years, one time. So I'm not repeating the same thing. I learn from every client I have, every shelter dog I work with, every, interaction with a dog. I learn from each one, and I try to do better the next time. So I'm speaking from experience that I prefer to hold them back on the harness and leave the neck, loose. It's there just in case, if their head's going to go and bite some, like a dog or something, then, I'll do that. But I want to bring them back a step and loosen the leash. So he's holding him on the throat. The camera person walking backwards is creating a draw for the dog, so the dog is probably going to want to go for them. This is setting the dog up for failure, making them look worse. He's also holding on to the dog's throat. I don't like that because, one, I'm more worried about the damage to the trachea and the thyroid gland and the, esophagus and all that good stuff. I guess esophagus is lower down here, but I worry about all of those, especially in a dog who has kind of a smushed up face, like nostrils are not necessarily built the way the dog should, where I don't know how well this dog can breathe. But when we have these brachycephalic dogs, which is, dogs that have more of a smush face, not as much as this, but he has a very wide head. He's more of a mutant than, I would say, like, I don't know, a husky. One that has like a long nose, but not super long, like a German Shepherd. Like it just more than your average dog that doesn't have, or a Labrador, has an appropriate sized body for its body, for its anatomy. But he's holding on to the leash on the neck. I would hold on to it, closer to the back by the harness. And this really bothers me because the dog is getting corrected because the camera person is causing a draw by walking backwards. I actually do exactly this when I'm teaching a dog to come to me. So I will say the dog is looking this way. I will actually move in front of that shoulder until they look at me. As soon as I get in the corner of that eyesight, and then I start instantly backing away. Almost like, I always joke, like a child predator, like, hey, come here, I've got candy, or just really low, and I start walking away backwards. And you don't, you don't stop. You keep walking backwards until the dog gets to you, and then you reward. Or you throw the ball, or whatever is most rewarding for them. Usually I use food to begin with, and then after that we can use real life reward. They can go sniff, they can go free, whatever. But I do not use this technique ever when working with an aggressive dog. Poor thing. Poor little thing.
How old is he? 21 months.
23 now.
23, wow.
So he's not quite 2 years. Still old enough for behavior to start setting in. So if you would let him sniff, if he would loosen the leash and let the dog sniff, I don't think the dog's necessarily going to bite him. The dog is more likely to bite because he's on a tight leash and he feels tension and he feels trapped. If you were to just like loosen the leash a little bit, the camera guy were to get the stupid camera out of the dog's face. Of course, it doesn't make as good of a show. But the dog were able to sniff him. If this dog were coming to me, I would look away. I would either stand straight or stand sideways and just let the dog come sniff. I'm not going to make eye contact. And I would look just like this, nice and relaxed. He could sniff me and I would let him walk away. If he didn't want to walk away and I became, I started feeling like, okay, he's been here a little too long. I'm worried that he might, turn and snap. Then I would take a treat and toss it away. That's not a bribe. That is redirection. Redirect, don't correct. Okay? And then he would learn, when I move away from a scary situation, it's more rewarding. Because dogs don't know how to, they know how to move into pressure. Hence why he's fighting the leash. They don't know how to move away from it. And a lot of times humans don't give them that opportunity, or we don't teach them. If you're scared and you have a way to get out of this scary situation, like you're not cornered, but you ran up to me and you're afraid of me, you can move away. So we have to teach dogs that.
Straight in here.
Oh, poor thing. Choking, hackles are up. They're laughing at him, even though he's like crushing his trachea, collapsing trachea. Yeah, that's real funny.
Thinks the world's the most amazing thing all of the time, but is also incredibly good looking, so he's going to attract everyone into him as it is anyway, and you just end up in this just constant cycle the whole time where he knows if he puts the effort in, he'll get there, he'll get the fuss out of it, and then he'll go, oh, dummy you, and then he's on to the next thing. And he'll get some fuss out of that, or he'll have a good sniff, and then he'll see the next thing, puts all his effort in, charges, and then,
well, because he's been reinforced that he just pulled really hard and this guy followed him and let him get there. I'm not saying you need to yank the dog back and stop, but I would not let this dog pull me towards anything. When dogs really dig in and they start pulling me, I start walking backwards with them and kind of bring them with me. Sometimes if I have to kind of drag them or make them come a couple steps with me, I will. And I only ever reserve that for dogs that are really totally ignoring me and pulling me and taking my feet out from under me. Then I'll say, you're going to really pull that much on me. I'm going to pull back on you a little bit. I need to get your attention. At the same time, if they keep doing that, I need to change the environment. It's too stimulating. It's too interesting. I do like they have a nice fenced-in area. Perfect. It looks like they have shade available. Hopefully it is for the dog as well. And hopefully they have water available. But aside from that, this dog is just doing what it's been reinforced to do. This harness clearly does nothing for him. And I don't even like this kind of harness anyway. I would have a regular harness, like an X or a Y harness, on this dog that gives him full free movement of his shoulders, including the shoulder blades. So he, you know, it's nice and comfy, and he can pull more comfortably, you know, without restricting him. But we work with his mindset, because the wide flat collar, which is how I would walk any dog, I use a nice wide flat collar. I do the same thing. I move sideways, not back. But he's using essentially a piece of paracord, just like this, and he puts it around the dog's neck, and he makes it high and tight, and he uses this kind of pressure versus something nice and wide. And this is pressing on blood vessels, your thyroid glands, salivary glands, trachea, and this works versus don't try this at home, please. Leave it to the stupid professionals. This works because it's this versus this around your throat. I mean, it's still going to cause damage at some point, but you get further with this because it's more painful.
Slowing you down, huh? Give yourself an heart attack. Give me an heart attack, one of them.
Good point.
So the dog is already reacting because it's painful. He feels trapped. He can't breathe very well anyway. He is brachycephalic, which means that he has
slip collar.
a little slip collar, like it's nothing. And I love the accent, so you know that's not anything against him. But he's saying just a little slip collar. No, it's a tight, tiny choking thing against a lot of surface area. Okay, if you have this against your wrist and you put 20 pounds on it, it's going to hurt a lot more than, again, if you had something that was this wide. And brachycephalic, if I haven't explained it before, is dogs with shorter, squishier noses. They can't, you know, like your pugs or your bulldogs or your dogs like this, where they can't breathe as well through their sinus cavity, so they have to open their mouth. And when you're doing this, it's going to cause that much more damage.
Pretty much does the same job as a slip lead. I know you use that as a head collar.
Dog's already fighting. Ouch, ouch, ouch. He's choking. He thinks he's going to die.
But we've got to start
He can't breathe.
down a little bit. We've got to start to reduce.
And his tail is wagging because he's stimulated. He's not wagging because he's happy. He's choking. And these are called slip collars and also choke collars, because they essentially choke your dog. Oopsies.
I'm under tension that he's got, where he's forever.
He's constantly has him on tension, no release.
Or the end of his lead, or whatever it is he wants to do.
Dog is panicking.
Because
ouch, 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 panicking.
You'll be forever stuck.
Choking himself.
With a spoiled shit on the end of the lead.
And he's calling him a spoiled shit at the end of the lead, while he is abusing and choking a dog. But the dog's the spoiled shit. This abuser is choking a dog in the name of training, causing a dog to panic and go into fight or flight, who cannot breathe well on its own. And now he puts a noose around its neck, the size of a shoestring, and insults the dog. Whenever I hear any human say or call an animal a name, I automatically place that name on the human. This man is an entitled, spoiled little shit. Piece of shit. Who gets off on being more powerful than a dog that could easily cause damage to him. I would have this dog walking nicely, no treats needed, and who knows how long. I don't care if it takes a week, a month. If we do it in a day, terrific. I don't expect to. The dog should not have to suffer because of my entitlement. That because I have a dog and because I'm tired of them pulling me, even though I taught them that in the first place. Or from either unknown teaching or lack of training. The dog does not need to suffer because of my entitlement, because of my ignorance, because of my age, because of my weight, my whatever, any other political reason, the dog does not need to suffer. This is abuse in the name of training.
Which is what he's become.
Choking, can't breathe.
When we are out walking, in all fairness, he doesn't pull too much unless he sees someone.
Unless he wants to do
Ouch.
something other than walk along nicely next to you.
Tries to run back to mom and dad for safety. Tail will probably start tucking here soon. This is sad. But people see results and they think it's justified. This abuse is justified in the name of training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like at home, he will happily go and sleep in his crate until he wants to go and do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or mum leaves the room and he goes, just want to go and see what mum's getting up to.
Yeah.
And
What's
he'll come
wrong
out
with
and go
that?
into the kitchen, or he'll come and be cute. And
So
put his head on
why
the
shouldn't he have freedom to exist? Why shouldn't he have the ability to not be caged all day? If you don't want an animal with a free thinking mind, don't get an animal. This guy is lying to these people, or manipulating them, or trying to tell them what they want to hear and what they think. I believe they care much more about their dog than a lot of people who come and they're just at the end of their wits, but it's no excuse. Just like with Adonis. I was at the end of my wits. I tried what I thought was proper training. It wasn't appropriate training. There's no right or wrong way to train a dog. It's just what is more humane, inhumane, appropriate, unnecessary. All of this here is unnecessary. And Adonis didn't care. Dogs don't care what you try in the moment. They care what you do. And they're so easily forgiving.
fuss, or you want to get the wheelie bin out and he decides that he doesn't want that, and you are forever. It's like a game of chess where he's forever winning.
But it's not about winning and losing. See, trainers like this like to make it about winning and losing. They like to reinforce that with their clients and with people so humans can feel that much more powerful, like they always have to. Or we're reinforcing that mindset. That's the common thing with trainers like this, who use pain, force, fear, intimidation, and tools to work with animals and train with animals. It's not that the dog wins, it's that you haven't taught him an alternate behavior. So the dog is not the problem. It's not the dog. It's the human. And if you were experiencing an issue with your dog, that's the first sign you need to work on that. That's what ownership is. That's what management is. That's what training is. It doesn't stop at obedience, at sit, stay, down, come, heel, whatever. I don't care about obedience. Do I teach it? Sure. But I don't just rely on, oh, my dog heels perfectly at my side, so now we're perfect. I want them to be able to be proofed in a number of different situations where they can walk on grass and water and puddles and metal grates and on an escalator and an elevator, by a wheelchair, all of that. It takes time. And quick results are never beneficial to the dog. So I guarantee, as soon as you stop relying on this noose, the dog will go back to pulling. You will always have to have this shoestring around this dog's neck. You may stop pulling for a couple of days when you remove it and put him back on a harness. But eventually, or he may just go right back to it. But eventually he will go back to pulling. He will have learned nothing.
Let's go.
Ouch. Fighting it because it hurts. Can't breathe.
Let's go.
Ouch. Look at his tail. See, what did I tell you? His tail is tucking.
Let's go. Good
Tuck.
boy.
It's a little closer to his body. Now he's trying to fight the leash. He's trying to climb him because he feels pressure. How long have they been working? They edited that. Says no bullshit dog training. More like all bullshit. Remove this no, and it's bullshit dog training. That's exactly what this is. Because this guy's full of it. We don't know how long this dog has been training. Or walking. This is not impressive. This is abuse. In my book. Ouch. Ouch. He's able to use very little pressure because it's leverage. This tiny thing. It's leverage. I teach with that much pressure on the back of the harness. This guy's not impressive. I teach this all day long. I love teaching loose leash because I know I do it in a humane manner and I'm not making anybody rely on any tool. If you want to call a harness a tool, go ahead. I don't care. But I teach the dog to walk in a collar, a nice wide fitting collar, a harness. I can teach them in multiple different types of harnesses. And I feel good about the way I teach it. Because I teach them to bond with their dog. And I tell everyone from the beginning, I'm not a 5-minute trainer. This takes time. But if you take the time it takes less time. You build a stronger bond with your dog. Now he's slowly going to start reinforcing the dog walks right by his side.
In seconds.
In seconds. Your dog is miserable.
This way. Good boy.
And because he's an adorable bully breed, he's going to appreciate that good boy.
This way. That first little bit. That was
So how long have they been out there training? Doesn't seem like there's any water available for the dog. Now he's trapped out in the sun. We don't know. I mean, when you're nervous like that, you get hot. When I get amped up doing these videos, I get hot. I get hot anyway. I'm always a hot person.
And he did not want to come and walk away with me. I'm a complete stranger. He's overexcited.
He didn't want to walk with you more because you're the one causing pain and he knows it. You are choking him and he knows it. This is a stress tongue, stress face, stress pant. If you were to use his harness, you may have to drag him away a little bit, but I'm sure he happily would have gone to go sniff away from his parents. He would have found something else that he was interested in. He didn't want to go with you because, maybe partially because you're a stranger. I believe he has a great bond with his people. But especially when he was in pain, he didn't want to go with you. He's smart. And they have these little treat pouches here. They never use them. That's why he's bullshit dog training.
Stimulated, doesn't really know what he's doing, and now I'm taking him away from you. On a collar
No.
he doesn't understand.
Because it causes pain. He understands it. He doesn't understand why he has to wear it. He understands it better than you do, better than his owners do. He understands that it causes pain. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know why the pain is there, or how to stop it, really.
And he went, quite rightly, well, you can fuck off, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't
as long as I
say
can-
that because he didn't want to do it. He's not acting like a spoiled, entitled child like this guy is, clearly. This guy's a joke, but the dog said, I don't want to go that way. I don't want to move because it causes pain. I feel trapped. I can't breathe. I'm scared. When you're in fight or flight, you're not thinking logically. Now he's just looking for a way to escape.
I remain calm, and I'm not going to start ragging him around. That little bit of pressure.
You
went
didn't
on.
have
As soon
to
as he-
start ragging him around, but you're not calm. You caused him to panic because of your noose.
moved towards it, the pressure went. I didn't have to make a song and dance
Ouch.
over it. The deal was, you move towards it, I promise the pressure will turn off.
So you
And he
don't
done
need
it.
to do that with a noose, with a string, a shoestring. You can do that with his flat collar, his wide collar, with his harness. I do it every day. I show people on my channel with my own Shiba, and I work with clients and shelter dogs and everything I do. I've shown it time and time again. You don't need to rely on a shoestring. If you're going to use it, you don't need to pay this guy thousands of dollars to do it.
And then immediately he hit the brakes. Cause
No, he didn't immediately hit the brakes. He panicked. And you cut a lot of that out. And then he finally learned. oh, if I stop going into this, which I could have taught him very easily with his flat buckle collar and his harness, and he wouldn't have freaked out.
I'll just try harder again then. So he did, and he tried harder, and the pressure went on, and because he learned the first
He was
time,
trying to run away from it because it was choking him, and he only knows to move into pressure.
If I just moved
So he learns on his own to move away from pressure. You didn't teach him shit. You just choked him and let him figure it out. Not impressive.
It will just go.
Yeah.
And he did. And then after that, we was down to the most...
He's just telling lying. He's just telling all sorts of lies. The dog is so hot now, they have to put a cooling vest on him. Or maybe it's a weighted vest. I don't know. God, I hope it's not a weighted vest. Because in this heat, and this dog is already stressed out. But of course we get the harness off of him. Of course we haven't used any treats. At least we have water. But the dog is totally facing away from him, stress panting.
A little bit. And we'll continue.
It looks like a
to see
cooling
how well
vest.
we do on the slip collar first. It's all well and good if he does it for me, but that's obviously not real well. He's got to be able to do the same thing for you, both of you equally. And you've got...
So why do you need to teach them to rely on a pain device? I hope they don't stick with it. I don't think they will. If they saw their dog squealing and whatnot like that, they would stop using it. If they were the ones holding on to the leash. And if you ever see your dog doing that and you're working with a professional, you could tell them to fuck right off. You have every right to do that. I don't give a shit if they say that they're professional or not. Or they have titles and fancy name tags and all this baloney. You have the right to walk out. You may not get a refund. Maybe you will. But you're saving your dog from being traumatized. And you're doing what's right for them. That's just me. If you want to support this guy, go support him. By all means. Give him all your money. Give him all your support. I think it's just a load of rubbish. So, I know I didn't finish the video, but I'm just going to get you amped up anyway. I use these videos more as, I'm not entirely reviewing the entire video, but I use it more of examples of how to explain what not to do and what I see in just the little bit. So maybe you can practice yourself in seeing these things. Unless you want to see me go through entire videos, it might be an hour-long video. If you want to watch the whole thing and you want me to go over the entire thing and you don't mind the longer content, then please let me know in the comments below. I don't know, put like a cheese emoji next to it or something, really let me know if you do want to see the longer videos, or if you would prefer to see them, you want to see the whole video done, but you want it broken down into parts. I can also do that, where I can, break an hour-long video down into 15-minute increments and into different parts. Or if you're okay with just the little bits that we see. I mean, I know it's entertaining to watch the whole thing. I know I pause a lot, but I'm trying to show people it's not just me reacting to it. I'm also trying to educate from my point of view, and there's a lot of other things that come with it than just, oh, this is bad, this is good, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. So, thank you for bearing with me. I do appreciate it. I hope you all are doing well. Ellie is over here just crashed on her little blankie. You all have been such amazing supporters. I really, really appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Go give your critters some kind of loving. Please say howdy do for me. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.